It's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Blood donors rock at Impact Life because saving lives is in their bones. Now, through October 31st, all donors who register to give blood will be eligible for their choice of a $10 gift card or a limited edition Blood Donors Rock long-sleeved Halloween-themed t-shirt. Give what's in your heart today and register to donate blood before October 31st. Visit our donor center on Wabash in Springfield or on Main Street in Decatur. We are changing the world together. Visit bloodcenter.org.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Today, with a high of 88. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight, 66. Chance for scattered showers. Tomorrow, high of 84. Overcast skies. Mid-70s Thursday with a chance for scattered storms. Chance for scattered rain showers on Friday. Highs in the mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 58.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
Time to move inside and make your home warm and cozy. Hendricks Home Furnishings is having a fall sale on all things homey. Cozy up on a new sofa or sectional. Relax and unwind with comfy recliners or stylish chairs. Pick out a new fireplace console to complement your seasonal decor. Settle in for a gathering at your new dining or kitchen table. Don't miss out on our limited time fall offers. Just a short drive to Verdon on Route 4. Hendricks Home Furnishings has everything you need to create a warm and inviting space.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is the sporting goods store that's all about fun. And a new location is coming to Springfield. With great brands at the best prices, you'll always find the gear you need to play the games you love and enjoy your favorite outdoor activities with your favorite people. Academy has it all in store and online. No matter how you have fun out there, your next adventure starts here. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store is coming soon to Springfield. Until then, check out academy.com.
Clock Tower Community Bank is everything you want in a community bank. Local people making local decisions for local success. With 6 convenient locations in Springfield and Chatham, our experienced local bankers are here for you in every way, from opening a checking account to getting a loan. And because we're local, we share the commitment to the success and future of our community. Visit Clock Tower Community Bank today. Clock Tower Community Bank, a division of Morton Community Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI Studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
As we do each and every morning, we track what's going on with various lawsuits challenging gun laws, not just in Illinois, but across the country. And we've got something that we talked about yesterday in the case challenging the ATF's rule on gun parts like lower receivers or frames that are unfinished. And looks like we've got a court order that was issued yesterday after a oral argument in this case, Vanderstock v. Garland, back on Thursday. So let's go ahead and get into this, and you can sound off anytime at 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. And why are we looking at what's going on over at a case in California? Because it could ultimately lead to impacting how Illinois' cases turn out. Not directly, because the Ninth Circuit, which California is included when it comes to the federal appeals court, those rulings only impact the Ninth Circuit. But the plaintiffs in the case in Illinois challenging the gun and magazine ban have directed the judges on the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, where we're still waiting for an outcome, to look at other cases that are being decided by lower courts. In particular, they've asked that the Hawaii decision that says butterfly knife bans are unconstitutional. The plaintiffs in Illinois have asked the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals to review that case in their ongoing deliberations about this. But now, also, after the Southern District's California case of Bonta v. Garland, that dealt with magazine bans, and that's being dealt with by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. But Illinois plaintiffs have said, hey, look at this judge over here in California saying that bans on certain types of magazines is unconstitutional. So the plaintiffs there in Illinois are saying, look at that case over in California. Could they also have similar arguments when it comes to this case, Vanderstock v. Garland out of Texas, which is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals? So how that may impact any of the lawsuits against Illinois gun laws, I think it's important that we do understand that. But yesterday, after Thursday's hearing, and if you recall, we had the judge in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals with the Vanderstock case ultimately talking about how this case is, about gun parts and whether or not they're completely finished, and can the ATF actually just go ahead and, essentially have rules that are crafted outside of Congress making laws, regulating the parts and receivers and such. So one of the questions that the court brought up was, are you, the state, the federal government, the ATF, the Department of Justice, are you going to enforce this against just regular customers, people who aren't manufacturers? And the government said, no, that's not their intent to enforce this on those customers. They intend to enforce this on the plaintiffs. So they heard that Thursday. You heard those questions about how they plan on enforcing this. You heard a lot about the issue of vacating versus an injunction. This is, legal jujitsu of sorts, just the different types of things that could be done in courts. But you've gotten the Vanderstock case yesterday after Thursday's hearing having an order. And let's go ahead and take a look at that docket where you've got it lined up here in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. And we'll get this just right for you if you're following along online. They ultimately ordered, and you can read that there on the docket, that they granted in part a motion to vacate district court's injunction filed by the DOJ, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and Merrick Garland. The government's motion is granted in part. The district court's preliminary injunction is vacated as to non-parties, and the government's motion is otherwise denied. So what does that mean exactly? Well, if you click through on the docket and you actually take a look at the order that came out yesterday in the Fifth Circuit on this Vanderstock case. It goes through. It says the ATF promulgated a final rule that, among other things, changed the longstanding federal definition of firearm, frame, or receiver. A group of plaintiffs brought that lawsuit challenging two provisions of the final rule. The district court held that those provisions exceeded ATF's statutory authority and vacated the entire final rule. The Supreme Court stayed the district court's ruling insofar as they vacate the final rule. Two of the plaintiffs, manufacturers of frames or receivers regulated by the final rule, then asked the district court for injunctive relief pending appeal. The district court enjoined the government from enforcing the challenged portions of the final rule against the two plaintiffs and their customers. The government has now asked us to vacate the district court's injunction. It goes on to say that we agree the government that the district court's injunction sweeps too broadly. Injunction that afford relief to non-parties are potentially problematic. And those non-parties would be the just regular customers. It goes on to say, and it appears the district court's injunction sweeps too broadly insofar as it affords relief to non-party customers. That is particularly true because the government has been adamant in both writing and oral arguments on this motion that it will not enforce the final rule against customers who purchase regulated firearms or receivers and who are otherwise lawfully entitled to firearms purchases. Of course, if circumstances change, the district court is free to narrowly tailor injunctive relief to meet the changed circumstances. But as things stand today, the government is correct that the injunction cannot extend to non-party customers. But we agree with the government that the district court's injunction as to two plaintiffs' party manufacturers directly conflicts with the Supreme Court's determination that the government should be permitted to enforce the rule as to everyone while this appeal proceeds. Government vacatur. Motion 8, we have three reasons. First, the Supreme Court limited its stay to the global relief afforded to the district court's vacatur order. It goes on to read out the Supreme Court's ruling there. Then it goes on to say the Supreme Court could have simply stayed the district court's vacatur and judgments without qualification. Instead, the court stayed them insofar as they vacate the final rule. It goes on to say, second, we cannot say that the district court abused its discretion in granting traditional limited injunctive relief to the two parties. It goes on to say that the party plaintiffs' manufacturers would be irreparably harmed by being forced to shut down their companies or by being arrested pending judicial review of the final rule. It goes on to say that the party plaintiffs' manufacturers are likely to succeed on the merits because the final rule is contrary to law, and both the balance of equities and the public interest weigh in favor of allowing orderly judicial review of the final rule before anyone shuts down their business or sends them to jail. Goes on to say we are sensitive to the fact that the government is irreparably harmed whenever its rules are enjoined, and goes on to say that ATF changed the final rule. ATF's desire to change the status quo does not outweigh the few additional weeks or months needed to complete judicial review of the ATF's work. Thus, under a precedent set, any other standard, we cannot say the government has shown that it's entitled to emergency vacatur of the district court's injunction as to the two-party plaintiff manufacturers. So essentially what you've got here, at the end of the day, they say we think four things are paramount. First, inferior federal courts must exhibit unflinching obedience to the Supreme Court's order. Second, the Supreme Court has directed us to be skeptical, if not altogether unwilling, to order universal relief that extends to non-parties. Third, insofar as possible, we should have orderly judicial review in which the status quo is maintained and the legal rule sorted without asking courts to make monumental decisions in short fuse emergency dockets. Fourth and finally, courts should be able to review ATF's 98-page rule and the decades of precedent it attempts to change without the government putting people in jail or shutting down businesses. For these reasons, the government's motion is granted in part, the district court's preliminary injunction is vacated as to non-parties, and the government's motion is otherwise denied. So essentially what you've got here is them saying that, hey, we're going to go ahead and say an injunction is only good for the parties that are part of the suit, and that's the Defense Distributed and Black Hawk Manufacturing, who make these lower receivers that are unfinished, and they sell them. The ATF's trying to say those are gun parts, and you can't sell those without having a serial number or having them registered. So ultimately, that case is going to proceed, but the government can't enforce it against the manufacturers, and the government's already said they're not going to enforce it against customers. So that was issued yesterday in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. We will talk about the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals case and particularly the issue of a case that's coming up next week down in the Southern District. That's part of the challenge in Illinois against the state's gun and magazine ban. So we'll get to that next. It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY, 621 now. And I'm looking at 58 degrees and the sun's not even up yet. With Springfield's Morning News from Culver's West on Wabash.
Deliver smiles, butter burgers, fresh custard, and great service. Culver's West on Wabash is hiring for all positions.
Hey, it's Breeze Airways, the seriously nice airline that wants to fly you to your next vacation. Fly nonstop from Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport in Springfield to Orlando and Tampa Bay, faster and easier than ever before. We don't charge change or cancellation fees, so you can book with complete peace of mind. Go to flybreeze.com or download the Breeze app to book your trip. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
Take the easy way out.
Here's one thing that psychologists and therapists believe to be a key step to achieving better mental health: meditation. It starts with proper breathing. By breathing in slowly for 5 or 10 seconds and exhaling, counting the same way, for just a few minutes each day has been a big deal for many people as they reach a new level of relaxation. Now, that's just a start. If your feelings of depression and hopelessness are accentuated with drugs and alcohol, then you may need some professional help. The team of nurses, counselors, physicians, and psychiatrists at Gateway Foundation understand that. They know what you're going through, and they can show you the way out. Gateway also uses meditation as a key component of their successful treatment. Your insurance covers the cost, and the Family Medical Leave Act protects your job. If your situation appears hopeless, make the confidential call to Gateway at 877-505-HOPE and start feeling better today. Gateway Foundation. Addiction medicine, saving lives.
Where do ghosts sleep? In the Booge Room, of course. And they sleep great on their all-new Bemco Arctic Breeze and Max Life mattresses from the guys at Just Beds. This month, twin Bemco mattresses $149. Queen mattresses just $229. Spooky good deals and a great night's sleep from the all-new Bemco Arctic Breeze and Max Life mattresses. As always, free delivery to your Booge Room, setup, and removal. Visit the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Just Beds.
The Riverbank Lodge. Stop in Monday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. for the best lunch in Petersburg, and nightly 4 to midnight where you can enjoy food, drinks, and gaming. Why not stay the night? Ask about our room rates. The Riverbank Lodge, Petersburg. Play slots or try a hand at video poker and win big with Excel Entertainment, Illinois' leading terminal operator. Take a spin with us and have your pick of the hottest games and enjoy the latest upgrades. Gaming as easy as 3-2-win. Powered by Excel Entertainment. Game on.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products stocked and ready when you need them. Better workdays happen together. So visit Cintas.com
I'm ready!
and get ready for the workday.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council. To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
Sunday, the Illinois State Police opened up the gun and magazine ban registry. While you don't have to register your magazines that are over 15 rounds for handguns or over 10 rounds for rifles, you do have to register your semi-automatic rifles, handguns, and shotguns and accessories, and all of this opening up October 1st. The deadline's January 1st, or if you can face criminal penalties. Be interesting to see what the compliance rate is in the first week, in the second week, in the first month, and so on. But all of this still being challenged in federal courts, and the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals has that challenge based on Second Amendment grounds, and that's still pending. We haven't seen any action out of the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals on that Second Amendment challenge. And that case is a consolidated case of 4 different plaintiffs groups, one of them being Thomas Magg, who represents the Langley plaintiffs. He filed his case initially in Crawford County State Court, and it was transferred to federal court in the Southern District, and then it was lumped in with cases brought by the State Rifle Association, by the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, and others. And that was heard in the Southern District, where you had Judge Stephen McGlynn issue an injunction pending the case's outcome, and that was a 6-day injunction before the state came in and then filed a request for a stay to the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, which they did, and they put a stay on that injunction. Now the case is in the Seventh Circuit, still pending. When is that ultimately going to be decided? We don't know. But since it's dealing with the Second Amendment issues, Thomas Magg, he had other issues in his challenge that he brought. And those issues included Fifth Amendment issues of having the registry violate the Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. But he also has an issue about vagueness, and that's something that's coming up in October 11th down in the Southern District. That's next week. We'll definitely be there to cover that. But we'll unpack some of what the vagueness arguments are and also what some of the legislation is out there dealing with the gun registry. In particular, 2 different tracks. If the gun registry is upheld, what kind of law are Republicans looking for to ensure that people are held safe when they complied with court orders, like a preliminary injunction or even temporary restraining orders? And then on the other track, you've got if the law is deemed unconstitutional, state legislators looking to require state police to destroy any and all records that state police may have received on the gun registry. So we'll touch on both of those things and then also hear from Thomas Magg as to the vagueness arguments. We'll delve into some of the precedent he's looking at and also the Fifth Amendment arguments that could come up still yet to possibly get an injunction on this law as the gun and magazine ban registry has officially opened up. So that's coming up next here with Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. Stay with me, all right, and follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. All right, stay tuned. Right now, 6:30, and let's get a check of news.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the 3 big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story, General Motors and Ford will be laying off nearly 500 additional employees.
Some of the affected workers are at Ford's Chicago Heights metal stamping facility. The layoffs in Chicago Heights are the direct result of UAW's announcement Friday of an expansion of the strike to include a Chicago assembly plant. Mack Trucks avoided a strike by reaching a deal with the UAW on Sunday night. Accused conman Sam Bankman-Fried goes on trial beginning today. Bankman-Fried is the founder of FTX, a market maker where investors bought and sold various cryptocurrencies. He's accused of using a hedge fund that he controlled to invest on the market exchange that he controlled as well. The government also accuses Bankman-Fried of funneling millions of dollars in illegal campaign donations to both Democrats and Republicans to influence their votes on cryptocurrency regulation in Washington. Governor J.B. Pritzker has written a letter to President Biden complaining about a lack of federal funding for care of asylum seekers in the city of Chicago. He also complained about the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border. According to Pritzker, one challenge is the chaos some governors have created by busing asylum seekers to other parts of the country, including Illinois, without prior notice or coordination, including unannounced arrivals in the middle of the night. Sangamon County State's Attorney Dan Wright has announced his candidacy for judge. He's hoping for an appointment to the vacant post once occupied by Matthew Maurer, who died July 23rd. At least 6 other candidates have expressed interest in the job. Judges who sit on Illinois' 7th Circuit will choose the replacement for their fallen colleague. This year's Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was announced yesterday. A pair of researchers, one from Hungary and one from the United States, received the prize for their work on mRNA vaccines. Work by Caitlin Carrico and Drew Weissman, begun in the 1990s, led directly to development of highly effective vaccines against the COVID-causing virus. The committee noted that their groundbreaking work allowed the vaccines to be developed so fast. The Jacksonville Police Department has announced the arrest of a 17-year-old in connection with the discharge of a firearm within the city limits on September 21st. The youngster has been charged with aggravated discharge of a firearm, resisting a peace officer, and possession of a firearm by someone under the age of 18. No injuries were reported in the shooting late last month. Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell has announced that the Sangamon County Juvenile Detention Center will be vacated while the Illinois State Police continues investigating a Saturday shooting at the facility. A 17-year-old was killed by a single shot from a Springfield police officer. Police say the child was armed. Sangamon County State's Attorney Dan Wright will ultimately decide whether to file charges. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 6, we build a double-sided mattress. For those that don't intend to flip their mattress or don't want to spend a bit extra to get a flippable mattress, single-sided mattresses are a good fit, and we have plenty to choose from. However, if you prefer to have a mattress that is flippable so you have a fresh side to use, we give you that option. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Verlo has a lifetime comfort guarantee because you can't risk it when it comes to that all-important, never long enough, cozy dreamland we call sleep. You can't let something like a mystery-made mattress in a box get between you and that much-needed shut-eye. We will adjust the comfort of your mattress for its lifetime, and we call that a lifetime comfort guarantee. And for that, you gotta go to Verlo. American-made, locally crafted, welcome to Verlo.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun today with a high of 88. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight, 66. Chance for scattered showers. Tomorrow, high of 84. Overcast skies. Mid-70s Thursday with a chance for scattered storms. Chance for scattered rain showers on Friday. Highs in the mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 58.
Weather sponsored by Lotterback Tire and Auto, home of Stage 2 service. Drive safely now.
If your checking account doesn't come with discounts and offers on goods and services, it's time to get More For You Checking. More For You Checking from Heartland Bank offers 24-hour roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft aid, and discounts on prescriptions and much more. Wherever you go, More For You Checking benefits save you money on the things you're already paying for. Visit hbtbank.com and unlock the power of more. More For You Checking from Heartland Bank and Trust Company. Member FDIC.
Don't miss your last chance to save big on indoor furniture at Menards. Get great sale prices plus 11% off on sofas, love seats, recliners, and more. In stock and ready to take home today. Save big on a plush rocker recliner. Other stores have it for $599.99. At Menards, it's just $349.99 after 11% off. Good while supplies last through October 8th. Savings or mail-in rebates, some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Cousin Bill here with Illinois Paving. Do you need a new driveway? Did you drag your feet this summer? Well, call now before the season ends. When other contractors say no, Illinois Paving will say yes, with immediate openings available, whether it's asphalt or hot tar and chip. Call Cousin Bill, 788-7777. 788-7777. ILPaving.com.
The trucks are out. Watch for a recycling event near you. The largest recycler in the area is taking all of your old computers and accessories and making the environment a better place. If you missed the event, no worries. Come to any of the 3 BLH locations and recycle them there. As an eSteward certified recycler, your information remains secure and safe in the trusted hands of BLH. In Jacksonville, Taylorville, Springfield, and at blhcomputers.com.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Well, despite legal challenges pending over Illinois' gun and magazine ban, Illinois State Police have opened that window for those who own banned firearms from before January 10th to register them. Welcome back. Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. And we've covered this extensively. Still got the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals with the case challenging Illinois' gun and magazine ban on Second Amendment grounds pending, even though they heard that when it feels like months ago now. While you've got other districts across the country dealing with bans on magazines or butterfly knives, and those issues have had the plaintiffs point to other courts to say, hey, 7th Circuit Court judges, look at these other judges that are ruling in favor of the Second Amendment based off of U.S. Supreme Court precedent, and not just the Bruin case, but also in the Heller case. So what we've got now is the prospects of next week's hearing that Attorney Thomas Magg has down in the Southern District of Illinois, October 11th, on the issue of vagueness. And this is all part of the initial challenge that Magg brought forward in Crawford County State Court that was transferred to federal court and then lumped in with all kinds of other cases in the challenge against Illinois' gun and magazine ban. But they advanced the challenge on the Second Amendment. And again, I want to make clear that that's what's being heard and considered in the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals, the Second Amendment challenge. But Magg's challenge initially had not just the Second Amendment, it also had the Fifth Amendment, the right to not incriminate yourself, and also a challenge on vagueness grounds. When we've talked with Magg in the past, he addressed ultimately what his thoughts are on vagueness issues and more.
Of course, the Seventh Circuit still has the Second Amendment issue vis-a-vis the temporary restraining order. The case that I originally filed, the Langley case, also included claims of unconstitutional vagueness as well as Fifth Amendment claims because it requires persons to register firearms and potentially incriminate themselves.
So the vagueness claims are going to be heard October 11th by Judge Steve McGlynn in the Southern District of Illinois. McGlynn is the same judge who issued a preliminary injunction on Second Amendment grounds, and that injunction was only for 6 days. Some in the pro-gun rights community say that was Freedom Week. They had a 6-day window where they could go purchase firearms because the court put an injunction on the law for those 6 days. Very similar to the state-level cases that Tom DeVore had, a temporary restraining order for thousands of plaintiffs that are clients of DeVore. Those temporary restraining orders allowed them to go and purchase semi-automatic firearms and magazines that were banned for everyone else. So, the idea of having that 6-day window coming out of Steve McGlynn, now he's going to be hearing this challenge on the vagueness issues October 11th in the Southern District. It'll be interesting to see if he rules from the bench, an injunction, or if he sits on it for a few weeks and then rules one way or the other. But obviously, this is something that Mag, the attorney who brought the case on Second Amendment, Fifth Amendment, and vagueness grounds, he will be making his arguments about vagueness. And one thing he says is in Springfield Armory versus the city of Columbus, it was already shown, the court found that the city's ordinance there, this is back in 1994, the ordinance that the city of Columbus had banning certain assault weapons by brand name without including within the prohibition similar assault weapons of that type, function, and capability, it was not rationally related to any legitimate government purpose, they said. So in Springfield Armory versus Cleveland, in the United States Court of Appeals, the Sixth Circuit stated that ordinary customers cannot be expected to know the developmental history of a particular weapon. So that is something that Mag's pointing to highlight the vagueness challenge, and that's going to be heard October 11th. If the vagueness challenge doesn't work, Mag said he's going to pursue that Fifth Amendment challenge.
Fifth Amendment challenge will probably follow very shortly on that, depending on what the vagueness ruling is out of Judge McGlynn. But we're very confident that the court, pursuant to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals case from several years ago, the City of Columbus case, Springfield Armory versus City of Columbus specifically, will find that the firearm and magazine ban is, if not completely, is at least largely unconstitutionally vague.
So again, those vagueness arguments going to be heard October 11th. Mag says that with the window open, some people may be voluntarily violating their Fifth Amendment rights, and that's why it's so important that this gets settled and an injunction is in place, he said.
Frankly, we're really concerned when this whole registration period starts, if it's not previously enjoined, that with the vagueness, with a whole host of issues, that people will be incriminating themselves, just as set forth in the U.S. Supreme Court case of 1968 of U.S. v. Haney's.
So there, the National Firearms Act of 1934 required the registration of certain types of firearms, and the Haney's v. U.S. case, it was of a convicted felon who was charged with failing to register a firearm under that act. Haney's argued that because he was a convicted felon and thus prohibited from owning a firearm, requiring him to register any firearms in his possession was required to make an open admission to the government that he was in violation of the law, which was essentially a violation of his right to not incriminate himself. So ultimately, you had the courts say, the decision blocked state prosecutions of criminals who failed to register guns as required by various state law gun registration schemes. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out if indeed we get to that Fifth Amendment argument as MAG attempts to try to put a injunction on the state's gun and magazine ban. But what happens if the gun and magazine ban is upheld? Well, you've got some legislation that State Senator Jason Plummer has that would ultimately allow for those who did purchase firearms after January 10th, but only as being under either a temporary restraining order that, say, Tom DeVore was able to get for his thousands of plaintiffs, or that the Judge Stephen McGlynn issued a preliminary injunction for that 6-day window for the entire state, what gun rights groups call Freedom Week. Jason Plummer, he wants to make sure that there are protections for those individuals, because right after that stay was issued on the Southern District Federal Court's injunction, you had state police come out and say that firearms purchased during that 6-day injunction window cannot be registered by the January 1st deadline because they were owned and possessed and purchased after the law's enactment date of January 10th. So essentially, if you were somebody who went out and purchased a gun in late April, early May, then that gun cannot be registered come January 1st, the deadline, and it's an illegal gun, according to state police. So Jason Plummer, he has a provision that he wants to get passed during veto session that says, listen, these individuals who purchased these should be held harmless because they were just following the law as was spelled out by court orders, either in state court with temporary restraining orders or in federal court with that 6-day window of a preliminary injunction.
It's not something we've given up on, because I think the closer we get to January 1st, the more obvious the problem will become to more people. As far as the first-time gun offender program, it's effectively a get out of jail free card to a lot of people who are committing crimes a lot worse than the entrapment that the governor is trying to put them in. So I have grave concerns about that legislation, and I don't think that that's ultimately a great long-term fix for people who may or may not ultimately get caught up in this. I hope that we can resolve the matter for the folks who've been caught up, before January 1st, and the get out of jail free card for people committing crimes, with guns is a whole nother story.
So obviously, Plummer, when we talked with him a while back, really is, looking to get his measure that holds people harmless if they did indeed purchase firearms during that 6-day window, or if they had temporary restraining orders in place. But he also there commented on the idea of the first-time gun offender program that was extended during the spring session, and the governor approved it, that says, hey, if you're a first-time nonviolent offender, you can have a diversion program in place. Is that going to impact these individuals who are going to be found outside of the registration? We shall see. But if the law is deemed unconstitutional, a measure from State Representative Amy Ellick, House Bill 4150, this was filed on Thursday, and here's what it says according to the state legislature's website. It provides that should provisions regarding manufacture, possession, delivery, sale, and purchase of assault weapons, 50 caliber rifles, and 50 caliber cartridges be found to be unconstitutional by a court, with all appeals exhausted or expired, the Illinois State Police shall immediately and permanently destroy or have destroyed each endorsement affidavit and all information collected from the endorsement affidavit in possession of the Illinois State Police and any law enforcement agency. So again, there's two different tracks there. That either if it's upheld, then Jason Plummer wants to make sure that those who purchased firearms during that 6-day injunction or with temporary restraining orders are held harmless. Or if the law is found unconstitutional, then the state police should destroy all such records. But all of this, of course, still pending in courts, in federal courts, and even Tom DeVore has brought his case back with a motion to reconsider after the Illinois Supreme Court found the Calkins plaintiffs did not prove their case on the issue of equal protections. So just to recap here, all right, and I know there's a lot here. Still pending out of the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, the challenge on Second Amendment grounds against Illinois' gun and magazine ban. That's still pending in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, federal court. In the Southern District Federal Court, October 11th, that's next week, Thomas Magg, he has his challenge on vagueness issues. If the vagueness issues don't produce a preliminary injunction, he's going to bring up the Fifth Amendment argument. So that's in federal court, Southern District. Steve McGlynn, same guy who gave that injunction. Well, you also have Tom DeVore seeking a motion to reconsider his case in state court, and that's on equal protections grounds. All right, so several different arguments, 4 different arguments. Second Amendment, Seventh Circuit, Southern District of Illinois, vagueness, possibly Fifth Amendment. And then in state courts, you've got DeVore bringing back the issue of equal protections because the law does not impact police, retired police, jail guards, prison wardens, those in the security sector, and so on. So that's the equal protections argument. But if the law is upheld, Jason Plummer wants to keep people safe who purchased during the 6-day injunction window or with temporary restraining orders from allowing them to register those weapons, even though they were purchased after January 10th. But if the law is deemed unconstitutional, then Amy Ellick has her bill that would require Illinois State Police to destroy any and all records that were collected via the state's gun registry. So that's where we're at right now. All right. And of course, that registry opened up October 1st as these cases are still pending. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where I'm only going to give you about 3 days. But anyways, the high of 88 today after a blistering hot fall day yesterday. But it looks like this is going to be the end of that because Wednesday it's going to be a high of 84 with showers overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Showers possible with a high of only 73. Then by Friday, mostly sunny skies. The high of 62. And it looks like a pretty mild weekend heading into Columbus Day. Right now, 58 degrees at 6:52 from Culver's West on Wabash.
Work with a team that cares about being the best part of the customer's day. Apply today at Culver's West on Wabash.
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 5. We have comfort coaches that care. We found our guests face enough of a challenge just trying to find the right mattress. The least of their worries should be poor service. We want your experience to be positive, from the moment you walk through our door to when we are leaving your house, and we'll be there for the life of your mattress. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Here's a question for you. Do you know what's inside your mattress? I mean, really, what is your mattress even made of? What crazy concoction of materials are you sleeping on? Well, we might not know what's in your mattress, but we definitely know what's in ours. Because our mattresses are made locally with our own 2 hands. And only the best materials. We lifetime comfort guarantee it. American made, locally crafted. Welcome to Verlo.
If you want to bank safe from anywhere, get the app you can use everywhere. Your money's right in your hand. Nobody loves you like Heartland. Get a loan, pay a bill when you're on the go. Deposit that check right from your phone. Download our app and you can. Nobody loves you like Heartland. We're like a bank, but only better, 'cause you'll remember. Bank like you own the place. Heartland Credit Union.
One of the easiest things you can do to prevent getting stranded tomorrow is check your battery today. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery. If you can take about 5 minutes out of your day, we can make absolutely sure your car battery is ready before winter. Just pull into Rex and we'll not only test the battery, but we'll make sure your alternator is doing its important job. Just because your car is running well now doesn't mean it's going to start when the temp drops. If you find your battery is near the end of its life, Rex Battery has car batteries for every make and model on the road. And more often than not, we have them for less than other places. Batteries are all we do, and we want to make sure yours is strong before winter hits. Just pull into Rex Battery anytime and ask for a free battery test. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
I think what people want from their doctors, as much as anything, is a partner in their care. I'm Dr. Chris McDowell, a physician with SIU Medicine. Our clinical excellence is unmatched in the region. We're home to the latest technology, the best people. But what sets us apart is our commitment to our patients. Being there for them as a partner, a supporter, as an advocate, and even a neighbor. That's what makes SIU Medicine so unique. Learn more at siumed.org.
Fighting Illini football is back in Champaign as they take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Memorial Stadium Friday night, October 6th at 7 p.m. It's our Celebrate Food and Ag game. Bring the family for a special petting zoo area inside Grange Grove with animals to interact with Illini fans and kids. See you at Memorial Stadium for Fighting Illini football's Big Ten matchup against Nebraska. Friday night under the lights on October 6th. Get tickets at fightingillini.com.
Shoes, Brews, and Biz is back. The Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce's 5th annual Shoes, Brews, and Biz will be on Thursday, October 5th at the LRS hangar at 5 p.m. Shoes, Brews, and Biz will feature Springfield's favorite horseshoes and craft beers from local restaurants and breweries. Advance tickets are $20, and that will include samples of unique horseshoes and craft beers, along with the rare opportunity to tour the car and motorcycle collection owned by Dick Levi of Levi, Ray, and Shoup Incorporated. Call for tickets at 525-1173 or visit gscc.org. That's 525-1173 or gscc.org. The Chamber's Shoes, Brews, and Biz, Thursday, October 5th at the LRS hangar by presenting sponsor Bank and Trust Company, premier sponsors Green Volkswagen Audi, Nob Hill Landscape Company, Springfield Clinic, and this station.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council. To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
All right, still coming up, we've got some conversations to have about the Gotion plant that's proposed for Kankakee County with more than $500 million in state tax credits and an estimated $7+ billion in federal tax incentives. But Gotion is linked with the Chinese Communist Party. So what does that ultimately mean? Well, you had Illinois Freedom Caucus members join others up in Manteno before a public hearing critical of this. We'll hear some of those arguments coming back. We'll also delve into immigration with Governor J.B. Pritzker sending a letter to President Joe Biden saying that things are untenable, uncoordinated, and overwhelming when it comes to the migrant issue, as other governors are saying that the border is too open. So we'll review some of that. Also, we got just a very minimal conversation about what might be an effort by the Illinois Department of Corrections to relax sex offender registration requirements and oversight. So we'll take a look at that as well. Is there movement to relax that? Well, House Minority Leader Tony McCombie says, not according to her. She doesn't want any changes and just wants IDOC to do their job. So we'll hear a little bit about that as well. So stay tuned. Tons more coming up here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Coming up on 7 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI Studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville. Springfield's News and Talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Justin Finch.
A move to oust the Speaker of the House. There's a power battle underway among House Republicans, and Kevin McCarthy is once again in the middle of it. ABC senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott was there last night as Congressman Matt Gaetz offered a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair.
What we just witnessed on the House floor was history. No member has brought a motion to vacate to the floor to try to oust the Speaker of the House in 100 years. We are watching a once-in-a-century fight once again here on Capitol Hill.
The move coming after McCarthy made a deal with Democrats and moderate Republicans to keep the government open and funded over the weekend. The next step will be to table the motion or bring it to the floor for a vote. Former President Donald Trump says he'll be back in court today in the civil fraud case brought against him and his sons. ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky covering it.
Already, he's on the brink of losing some of the properties that he prizes so much in his real estate portfolio in New York because of a judge's ruling up for partial summary judgment, finding that he already committed fraud and overvalued his net worth by as much as $2.2 billion. And the whole idea of him as wealthy and the master of the real estate world is really what propelled him to the White House.
A 9-year-old girl abducted from an upstate New York park over the weekend found, and Charlotte Sinners' alleged kidnapper left a ransom note in her parents' mailbox.
Police say they lifted a fingerprint from the note and ran it through a database. A crime from nearly 25 years ago helped identify the suspect. Police following that lead to the home of the suspect's mother, 13 miles from Charlotte's house. There, they say they found 47-year-old Craig Nelson Ross Jr.
ABC's Andrew Dimbert. This is ABC News.
2 times the healthy blood pressure support? That's a number to rave about. Thanks to Superbeats Heart Chew's unique 2X ingredient that helps promote normal blood pressure nearly 2 times more effectively than diet and exercise alone. Superbeats is America's #1 selling beet brand and the only #1 cardiologist, doctor, and pharmacist recommended beet brand for heart health support. A clinical study showed that the key ingredient in Superbeats Heart Chews is nearly 2 times more effective at supporting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. And they're part of a brand with over 60,000 5-star ratings and reviews. So double your potential with a special offer exclusively for radio listeners. Get a free 30-day supply of Superbeats Heart Chews and 15% off your first order at getsuperbeats.com with code RADIO. That's a free 30-day supply and 15% off for radio listeners only at getsuperbeets.com, code RADIO.
All right, coming up, we'll hear the arguments that the Illinois Freedom Caucus has against giving tax credits to a Chinese Communist Party-linked company in Illinois. Not just some tax credits, what seems to be some of the largest amounts of tax credits that Illinois has ever given. So stay tuned. We'll get to that next. And also we'll tackle the issue of immigration with Governor J.B. Pritzker sending President Joe Biden a letter saying that, it's untenable, uncoordinated, and overwhelming. So stay tuned. We'll get to all of that next. This hour with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. It's 7:04.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell has announced that the Sangamon County Juvenile Detention Center will be vacated while the Illinois State Police continues investigating a Saturday shooting at the facility. A 17-year-old was killed by a single shot from a Springfield police officer. Police say the child was armed. Sangamon County State's Attorney Dan Wright will ultimately decide whether to file charges against the officer. Governor J.B. Pritzker has written a letter to President Biden complaining about a lack of federal funding for care of asylum seekers in the city of Chicago. He also complained about the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border. According to Pritzker, one challenge is the chaos some governors have created by busing asylum seekers to other parts of the country, including Illinois, without prior notice or coordination, including unannounced arrivals in the middle of the night. Accused conman Sam Bankman-Fried goes on trial beginning today. Bankman-Fried is the founder of FTX, a market maker where investors bought and sold various cryptocurrencies. He's accused of using a hedge fund that he controlled to invest on the market exchange that he controlled as well. The government also accuses Bankman-Fried of funneling millions of dollars in illegal campaign donations to both Democrats and Republicans to influence their votes on cryptocurrency regulation in Washington. The Associated Press has fact-checked some common fake news items circulating on social media. Among them, it is not true that the Biden administration is giving illegal aliens cash payments of $2,200 per month. Immigration experts told the AP that people who enter the U.S. illegally are not eligible for federal cash assistance, with the exception of certain Cubans and Haitians. Some refugees and asylum seekers who are in the country legally can receive relocation assistance, but it does not amount to $2,200 a month. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
News brought to you by Illinois Paving. It's paving season, and Illinois Paving is here to help. Call Cousin Bill today for your free estimate. Visit ilpaving.com.
Here's one thing that psychologists and therapists believe to be a key step to achieving better mental health, and it doesn't cost a thing. Spending time outside. That's right, the natural light, the wind against your skin, the sounds and fragrances of the season all work in concert to help you feel better. Now, you can't treat clinical depression and addiction with just one step. Those are more serious problems, especially with drugs and alcohol. The team of nurses, counselors, physicians, and psychologists at Gateway Foundation understand that. They know what you're going through, and they can show you the way out. Your insurance covers treatment, and the Family Medical Leave protects your job. If your situation appears hopeless, make the confidential call to Gateway at 877-505-HOPE. 877-505-HOPE, and start feeling better today. Gateway Foundation. Addiction medicine. Saving lives.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council. To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Mainly cloudy skies expected today with a high of 88. Southerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies tonight, lows around 66. Chance for scattered showers tomorrow, 84. Cloudy skies expected. Mid-70s Thursday with a chance for scattered storms. Chance for scattered showers on Friday. Highs in the mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 59.
Why do residents love Springfield Supportive Living? Just ask Mike.
I am so glad that I came here. I really appreciate that they have Wi-Fi here because I like playing on my tablet and looking up things and playing games, and I'm just happy that they have that.
With an experienced staff every step of the way.
I get along with them really well. They're a lot of fun, and it's just been a really good experience.
SpringfieldSupportiveLiving.com.
Springfield Supportive Living. Are you young enough?
There are many reasons to buy a Verlo mattress. We've narrowed it down to the 8 great reasons to choose Verlo. Reason number 8, we do all sizes. Most mattress retailers sell twin, full, queen, and king. It's rare to find a place that will not only sell standard size, but also custom sizes. So where do you go if you need a short queen for your RV, a 3/4 for your antique bed, a queen or king waterbed replacement, or to find a replacement for that weird mattress tucked up in the attic that's been passed down for years? You go to Verlo. For a list of all 8 great reasons and our current sale, Google us or like us on Facebook.
Hey, at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing from their mattress. A good night's rest, am I right? It's not rocket science. You don't need a physics genius to make you a futuristic space bed. You just need someone to listen to what you want and who knows the materials that will get you there. And you might even be surprised to learn that that someone could be living right next door. At Verlo, we're your friendly neighborhood mattress genius. American made, locally crafted. Welcome to Verlo.
Barcom Security. You know, we're the Have a Secure Day security systems company, right here out on South Cokie Mill Road. Family owned and managed for nearly 50 years. We are local experts in residential, small business, and commercial security systems. Family owned, family values, treating you just like family. Call us anytime, day or night, and we'll actually pick up the phone. You can check us out at barcomsecurity.com, and as always, have a secure day.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
This will cost $8 billion in tax incentives from our taxpayers. And this is all, now listen to me, this is all to fuel the climate crisis scam. Make no mistake about it, the climate crisis is a complete scam. And we the people need to start standing up against this nonsense. We are not having a climate crisis, but what we are having is a crisis of common sense. And it's time for we the people to stand up and tell the truth to the American people and the citizens of Illinois.
That's State Representative Chris Miller. He is the chair of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, a group of Illinois Republicans who traveled to Manteno yesterday in Kankakee County just before a town hall meeting about the planned Gotion electric vehicle battery plant that's going to get more than $500 million in state tax credits and estimated $7+ billion in federal tax incentives. So Governor J.B. Pritzker announced this on the September 9th, I think. It was last month. The governor was with Gotion officials and Manteno and Kankakee County officials announcing the program. But there's been concerns raised that Goshen's a Chinese company with Communist Party links. Here's State Representative Brad Halbrook sharing some of his thoughts on this from yesterday.
This is a massive deal. Rev credits like EDGE credits are done with DECO and not open to public debate.
Department of Commerce.
This is the largest incentive package in business in decades, only exceeded in current dollar value by the Soldier Field expansion. Let's compare the deal closing fund portion, $125 million, to prior year's EDGE credits. In 2021, 223 companies received almost $226 million in EDGE credits. In 2020, 196 companies received almost $189 million in EDGE credits. Governor Pritzker touts Rivian, but their deal was $50 million, 10% of the amount slated for Gotion, and they were an American company. Illinois has lost out on 18 previous battery plants, including the Rivian plant that moved to Georgia recently. The question I have is, what was offered to these American companies and rejected? And if they had been offered $500 million, would they have located here? We need those answers. Additionally, we would like to go into this deal. Why would we go into this deal without proper disclosure requirements? Why would we subsidize this project with U.S. taxpayer dollars without the proper disclosure? Chinese companies are required to make disclosures and share their sensitive information with the Chinese government. What steps have been taken to protect proprietary information and protect our interest in this deal? Again, I've got nothing against jobs. We all want jobs, but blindly going into business with a company with direct ties to China is a risk not worth taking. In closing, Governor Pritzker is doing his level best to make Illinois the Western version of the People's Republic of China. He now has went so far as to give $500 million of our tax money to the Chinese communists.
So again, Halbrook laying out some of the costs there and the concerns, and they weren't the only ones there. They even reached out to our neighbors to the north from Michigan. Former federal officials joined in their opposition to Gotion after a Gotion plant being attempted to be brought up in Michigan. Here's just one other guest that was there yesterday in Manteno.
Good afternoon. My name is Pete Hookstra, and
I'm from the state of Michigan, and I'm here to help. All right? I'm a former congressman. I used to be chair of the House Intelligence Committee, and I was a Trump ambassador to the Netherlands. But more importantly, over the last 7 months, my colleague Joe Sella and I have been fighting Gotion in Michigan. So I want to let you know, you're part of a movement. You're not out here alone. We're going to beat Gotion in Michigan. Matter of fact, in 6 weeks, we're going to recall the local officials who voted Gotion into their community. You can never underestimate the power of grassroots. They work for you, you don't work for them. From the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, I can tell you, hold up the sign, history lesson number 1. China is our enemy. They are not a competitor. They seek to destroy us and our communities. And don't ever forget it. And you have people who are doing non-disclosure agreements with the Chinese, who are doing business behind closed doors to do what? To destroy you and enhance China. You can stop it. Lesson number 2. You know, this is, a lot of it's partisan here because of the governor can do it by himself here in Illinois. In Michigan, you know, we put together, and I think you're developing here, a bipartisan coalition or a non-partisan coalition to defeat this.
So clearly some ongoing concerns of this. Now, the governor has responded to some of the criticism, saying that it's short-sighted and even going as far as saying that it is xenophobic. Well, we'll hear some response to that from the Freedom Caucus members, Blaine Wilhauer fielding that response. But he also took a question from the Chicago Tribune about why they're focusing on China instead of Russia. So we'll hear the response to that question as well. So stay tuned. That's coming up here with Springfield's Morning News, reviewing a Illinois Freedom Caucus event yesterday in Manteno in Kankakee County, where Governor J.B. Pritzker's announced a $2 billion Chinese electric vehicle battery manufacturer getting more than $500,000 of Illinois tax credits. $500 million. Let me get that right. I think it's like $536 million. So more than $500 million in tax credits, but also billions of tax incentives for the federal government. So we'll hear more of those concerns coming back here, and why not? We'll open it up for your phone calls as well at 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. So let's have you sound off on that. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop. Follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air. All right, right now, 7:18 and about 58 degrees from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Where do ghosts sleep? In the Booge Room, of course. And they sleep great on their all-new Bemco Arctic Breeze and Max Life mattresses from the guys at Just Beds. This month, twin Bemco mattresses $149. Queen mattresses just $229. Spooky good deals and a great night's sleep from the all-new Bemco Arctic Breeze and Max Life mattresses. As always, free delivery to your Booge Room, setup, and removal. Visit the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Just Beds. The Riverbank Lodge. Stop in Monday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. for the best lunch in Petersburg, and nightly 4 to midnight where you can enjoy food, drinks, and gaming. Why not stay the night? Ask about our room rates. The Riverbank Lodge, Petersburg. Play slots or try a hand at video poker and win big with Excel Entertainment, Illinois' leading terminal operator. Take a spin with us and have your pick of the hottest games and enjoy the latest upgrades. Gaming as easy as 3-2-win. Powered by Excel Entertainment. Game on.
If you want to bank safe from anywhere, get the app you can use everywhere. Your money's right in your hand. Nobody loves you like Heartland. Get a loan, pay a bill when you're on the go. Deposit that check right from your phone. Download our app and you can. Nobody loves you like Heartland. We're like a bank, but 'cause you'll remember. Bank like you own the place. Heartland Credit Union.
Looking to buy your next home or considering listing? My wife and I recommend choosing RE/MAX Professionals of Springfield, Fritz Pfister. Working with Fritz to find our new home in Sangamon County was truly a wonderful experience. He's prompt, responsive, and we had constant communication. He was committed to serving our needs and made our home buying experience an absolute pleasure. RE/MAX Professionals of Springfield, Fritz Pfister, 217-652-7653. 217-652-7653. Buying or selling a home? Fritz makes it easy.
Have you lost Illinois Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Continuing on with your calls, if you'd like to sound off about should Illinois and the federal government give a Chinese communist-linked company tax credits and tax incentives, 217-629-7970. The Illinois Freedom Caucus in Manteno yesterday saying that they shouldn't. And in particular, highlighting that Gotion, the company that's lined up to get these tax credits for a $2 billion plant, is going to be getting significant amounts of tax incentives. But before we hear a few more comments from State Representative Blaine Wilhauer up in Manteno yesterday, here's a couple of headlines for you. Ford lays off 243 workers at stamping facility in Chicago Heights due to United Auto Workers strike at nearby Chicago assembly plants. This is coming from the Chicago Tribune. Layoffs began Saturday for 243 workers at the Chicago Heights stamping plant, where Ford employees are around 1,000 people. So you've got that headline when it comes to the manufacturing sector in Illinois. But then you look at the global picture, and here's another headline in the Associated Press. China's factories show signs of rebounding. China factory activity in September recorded its first expansion in 6 months. An official survey said Saturday, providing another sign that the world's second largest economy is gradually improving after its post-pandemic malaise. So China is continuing to expand, and even here in Illinois, they're continuing to try to expand with the Gotion plant. But what can be done? Obviously, you've got the Freedom Caucus that's trying to lay out what their concerns are. Blaine Wilhauer, part of the Freedom Caucus, laid out some of his concerns, but also was taking questions, one coming from the Chicago Tribune. We'll encapsulate that, but first here's Wilhauer, again, sharing his concerns with a crowd in Manteno yesterday evening.
Any questioning on this project? He was quoted recently in a Fox News article as saying that any questions on this project is basically it's unserious, it's political grandstanding, and we're here to tell the governor that our questions are serious and we're not political grandstanders. Is it unserious to ask why taxpayers in the United States and taxpayers in the state of Illinois are giving $8 billion to a Chinese company for a project that cost $2 billion. Governor, hey, guys, is that unserious? Is that an unserious, unreasonable question? The governor doesn't seem to comprehend that the reason that people here in Manteno and other places are upset is not because of the Chinese people, it's because of the Chinese government, all right? There's a big difference. I mean, if we're xenophobic towards the Chinese people for raising questions about this project, then is he not also xenophobic for 2 years ago signing into law legislation to divest Illinois investments from companies tied to Russia? I mean, it works the same way. He can't have it both ways. And, you know, not only is Illinois divesting from Russia, which I support, but we've also divested, this state has a history of divesting from all kinds of companies. We've divested from Iran, we've divested from Sudan, we've even divested from companies that don't support the woke ideology that this governor and the administration espouses. So this isn't, we're not asking him to do anything out of the ordinary. But here's the deal, this deal was done behind closed doors. And to our knowledge today, and you know, the governor refuses to answer any questions about this, there was no disclosures, and we've apparently just handed over literally $500 million in Illinois tax incentives to a company with ties to the CCP with little or no expectations on our end. Here's the deal. Gotion High-Tech's corporate bylaws, they literally require loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party, guys. It's written in there. Article 9 of its Articles of Association demands that Gotion set up a party organization and carry out party activities in accordance with the Constitution of the Communist Party of China. The company shall ensure necessary conditions for carrying out party activities. Is that the kind of corporate partner that we want, that we need in Manteno, in the state of Illinois?
So again, Freedom Caucus sharing their thoughts about this planned Gotion plant, getting $500 million in tax credits from Illinois and more than $7 billion estimated in tax incentives from the federal government. Your thoughts on this? Randall on YouTube says, give tax credits to communist entity. I vote no. No one remembers China's 50-year plan. So yeah, that's obviously some of the strategy that the Chinese Communist Party has to get global dominance and to try to downplay or diminish the United States' global dominance. So clearly you've got people highlighting that China is an adversary, even members of Congress sending letters to the U.S. Treasury saying do not give money to the Communist Party through Gotion. So some of the questions, though, that were raised. You heard Wilhauer talk about divesting from Russia, for instance. Well, a Chicago Tribune reporter was at the event yesterday and asked a question about, do you support money for Ukraine's battle against Russia? And that was fielded by State Representative Blaine Wilhauer.
Between giving money to a company that's literally pledged loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party and giving money to Ukraine. That's the issue that we're facing here. We're literally giving $8 billion in U.S. taxpayer money for a $2 billion project to a company with clear ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Did you know that the Chinese Constitution requires that any company doing business in China discloses all their information with the Chinese military intelligence? I mean, doesn't that seem like a question that the media would want answered? I mean, we can ask questions about Ukraine all day long, but we're not talking about Ukraine. We divested from Russia because of Ukraine. We've done due diligence on that in the Illinois General Assembly. What we have not done is due diligence on China, and we're literally giving them money. So I think that we need to be asking, I think the press needs to do a better job, the Chicago Tribune needs to do a better job of demanding accountability from Governor J.B. Pritzker on this project.
So the governor does have an event up in Chicago today where he is going to be talking about Banned Book Week. But clearly, this could come up as a question to get his response directly to the Illinois Freedom Caucus and others who've raised concerns about tax incentives and tax credits going to a Chinese Communist Party-linked company in Illinois. So we'll see what the governor has to say in response to that. We'll also see what the governor has to say in response to a letter he sent President Joe Biden yesterday, critical of the migration situation that's impacting Chicago with more than 15,000 migrants hitting the streets. And the housing crunch and the resource crunch. So we'll read some of what the governor's letter said, but we'll also look at what other Democrats governors from across the country dealing with similar issues have to say as well. So stay tuned. We'll get to that next here on WMAY. It's now 7:32. And here's a check of some headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story, Republican Representative Matt Gaetz has initiated a process to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. Gaetz admitted he did not expect the effort to succeed, at least not at first. The Florida Republican is angry that McCarthy supported a bipartisan continuing resolution to prevent the federal government from running out of money. No U.S. House Speaker has ever been removed by fellow congressmen. Accused conman Sam Bankman-Fried goes on trial beginning today. Bankman-Fried is the founder of FTX, a market maker where investors bought and sold various cryptocurrencies. He's accused of using a hedge fund that he controlled to invest on the market exchange that he controlled as well. The government also accuses Bankman-Fried of funneling millions of dollars in illegal campaign donations to both Democrats and Republicans to influence their votes on cryptocurrency regulation in Washington. General Motors and Ford will be laying off nearly 500 additional employees. Some of the affected workers are at Ford's Chicago Heights metal stamping facility. The layoffs in Chicago Heights are the direct result of UAW's announcement Friday of an expansion of the strike to include a Chicago assembly plant. Mack Trucks avoided a strike by reaching a deal with the UAW on Sunday night. Sangamon County State's Attorney Dan Wright has announced his candidacy for judge. He's hoping for an appointment to the vacant post once occupied by Matthew Maurer, who died July 23rd. At least 6 other candidates have expressed interest in the job. Judges who sit on Illinois' 7th Circuit will choose the replacement for their fallen colleague. The Jacksonville Police Department has announced the arrest of a 17-year-old in connection with the discharge of a firearm within the city limits on September 21st. The youngster has been charged with aggravated discharge of a firearm, resisting a peace officer, and possession of a firearm by someone under the age of 18. No injuries were reported in the shooting late last month. General Motors and Ford will be laying off nearly 500 additional employees. Some of the affected workers are at Ford's Chicago Heights metal stamping facility. The layoffs in Chicago Heights are the direct result of UAW's announcement Friday of an expansion of the strike to include a Chicago assembly plant. Mack Trucks avoided a strike by reaching a deal with the UAW on Sunday night. Governor J.B. Pritzker has written a letter to President Biden complaining about a lack of federal funding for care of asylum seekers in the city of Chicago. He also complained about the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border. According to Pritzker, one challenge is the chaos some governors have created by busing asylum seekers to other parts of the country, including Illinois, without prior notice or coordination, including unannounced arrivals in the middle of the night. Your WMAY dependable forecast is next on Springfield's News and Talk.
News sponsored by Just Beds. A great night's sleep starts with a visit to the yawn exterminators at Just Beds. Online at justbedsinc.com.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-637-9116. That's 1-800-637-9116. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-637-9116. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin Ultra Soft on the potty, less is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The crib is always stocked. It's our party vibe. It's cushioning things so our cheeks feel flat. So worth it. Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Now, your dependable forecast on 92.7 WMAY.
Mainly cloudy skies expected today with a high of 88. Southerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies tonight, lows around 66. Chance for scattered showers tomorrow, 84. Cloudy skies expected. Mid-70s Thursday with a chance for scattered storms. Chance for scattered showers on Friday. Highs in the mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 59.
Hello there. New month has begun. The seasons are a-changing and the trucks are rolling out from BLH Computers. You might be wondering, trucks rolling out from BLH Computers. I am talking about the recycling trucks because recycling events are happening all over the area. And did you know that BLH Computers is the area's largest electronics recycler? Well, you do now, and BLH Computers, they are helping make our planet a better place to call home. You might have a bunch of old computers just lying around, the desktops, the laptops, sitting at the house, taking up space in the garage or attic. Well, clear that stuff out, take it to BLH Computers. Also, something that is very cool, BLH Computers, they are eSteward certified recyclers. That means that they are making sure that the personal and sensitive information stored on those electronics are disposed of properly, safely, and most of all, securely. You can see a full list of recyclable items and many of their upcoming recycling events online, blhcomputers.com. You can always drop into one of their 3 area locations over on Stevenson and Springfield, also in Jacksonville and Taylorville. It's BLH Computers, online, blhcomputers.com.
If your checking account doesn't come with discounts and offers on goods and services, it's time to get More For You Checking. More For You Checking from Heartland Bank offers 24-hour roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft aid, and discounts on prescriptions and much more. Wherever you go, More For You Checking benefits save you money on the things you're already paying for. Visit hbtbank.com and unlock the power of more. More For You Checking from Heartland Bank and Trust Company. Member FDIC.
The Riverbank Lodge. Stop in Monday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. for the best lunch in Petersburg, and nightly 4 to midnight where you can enjoy food, drinks, and gaming. Why not stay the night? Ask about our room rates. The Riverbank Lodge, Petersburg. Play slots or try a hand at video poker and win big with Excel Entertainment, Illinois' leading terminal operator. Take a spin with us and have your pick of the hottest games and enjoy the latest upgrades. Gaming as easy as 3-2-win. Powered by Excel Entertainment. Game on.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop, broadcasting from the Fly SPI studios. Take the easy way out. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Democratic governors to President Joe Biden. Migrant crisis is untenable and the border is too open. Welcome back. Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. That's on top of the headlines that the migrant crisis continues to grow in Chicago and elsewhere. But what is Governor J.B. Pritzker saying to President Joe Biden? Well, the governor is telling the president the numbers of migrants arriving in Chicago from the southern U.S. border are accelerating. The situation's overwhelming, untenable, and uncoordinated, Pritzker said. What's the White House's response to these governors who are raising concern? Well, we'll hear that in a moment, but let's read a little bit further into this. In a letter that the governor sent to the White House yesterday, the governor says, quote, "The humanitarian crisis is overwhelming our ability to provide aid to refugee population. More than 15,000 migrants have arrived in Chicago in the past 13 months. With the letter, Pritzker joins a growing list of Democrats calling for the White House to do more. More from the letter. Unfortunately, the welcome and aid Illinois has been providing to these asylum seekers has not been matched with support by the federal government. Most critically, the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border has created an untenable situation for Illinois," the governor says. Illinois taxpayers have covered more than $300 million, $330+ million on services for migrants, a number that Pritzker said is growing each day. Quote, "That's a massive amount of money for a state still overcoming the health and economic effects of COVID-19. Add to that over $100 million the city of Chicago has contributed." Now, Pritzker told Biden the situation's untenable and requires, quote, "your immediate help beyond the coming work authorizations for some of the asylum seekers." And if you recall, the Department of Homeland Security did extend temporary protected status to Venezuelans in the United States before July 31st of 2023. And that's going to be thousands of Venezuelans, even here in Illinois, getting that temporary protected status. And that also allows for them to get work permits. Well, here are some of the various recommendations the governor continued to offer up to President Joe Biden. But continuing on here, the Biden administration, the governor says, needs to step up beyond just those work authorizations. The Biden administration should have one person provide oversight of the nation's efforts at the border, Pritzker said, noting that there are too many different federal department contacts who are not coordinated with each other. And this is what's interesting. I thought the vice president was tapped to be like the border czar, right? The person who kind of oversees what's going on at the border. Where's Kamala Harris been? Where's the vice president been on this? And is she not the one that's been tapped to help address these issues? But the governor, Pritzker, he goes on with his letter. He says a single office with an identified leader must be assigned to work for the cities and states across silos of government to manage the challenges we face. Quote, "It is time for the federal government to take a much more active role in managing the transport and destination of the transport of asylum seekers." Pritzker said that it's untenable to allow just one state to lay the burden upon a few states run by Democrats. Here's what's interesting. Now, the governor's tried to make this political, saying it's just Republicans who are shipping, as he says, these migrants, these non-citizens, some seeking asylum, some crossing the border illegally. But in Arizona, you've got Katie Hobbs expressing frustration with the flood of illegal border crossers. She told the Center Square that the busing policy of some migrants from Arizona to other areas of the country is still in effect. Katie Hobbs is a Democrat, and she's sending migrants to other parts of the country. Now, Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, a Republican, has been critical of Biden's handling of the border crisis and overseeing the transportation of migrants to the places like Chicago, New York City, Washington, D.C., and elsewhere. But Democratic Mayor of El Paso, Texas, Oscar Leeser, also has been involved. And again, as has Katie Hobbs, the Democrat out of Arizona. She said, quote, as we're seeing increased folks coming into the NGO network at their capacity, we've continued providing support, and that includes busing, Hobbs said. In New York, a senior advisor to New York City Mayor Eric Adams urged Biden to, quote, close the border. Much more stronger language than what the governor here in Illinois said, because the governor, from the letter I read, didn't necessarily spell out close the border, even though you've got even aldermen in Chicago yelling as far as a few weeks ago, tell the president to close the border. In New York, you got the advisor to Eric Adams, the mayor, saying that they need to do their job. The federal government needs to do its job, Adams' advisor said. We need the federal government, the Congress members, the Senate, and the president to do its job. Close the borders. New York Governor Kathy Hochul told CBS on Sunday that the border is, quote, too open right now. People coming from all over the world are finding their way through, simply saying they need asylum, she said. And the majority of them seem to be ending up in the streets of New York, and that is a real problem for New York City. Now, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, she was asked about the border crisis several times at the White House press briefing earlier yesterday. And here's some of what she had to say in regards to those concerns being raised by not just Democrats, but, not just by Republicans, but by Democrats.
I think the American people are fed up. They're fed up of the political games, the political stunts that House Republicans are doing on our national security and also our government. You have a president who has delivered record funding to make sure that we have additional Border Patrol federal employees at the border. This is something that he has done and has delivered on. And instead, these extreme House Republicans, what did they do? They just passed 2 weeks ago a proposed cutting DHS funding by 8%. They're the ones who are saying that they want to defund DHS. That's what they're saying. Meanwhile, we're trying to do everything that we can to make sure that we deal with what's going on at the border. As it relates to Ukraine funding, there's bipartisan support. We've heard that from Republicans and Democrats. And we appreciate the bipartisan support that we have seen for Ukraine, and we are confident that we're going to continue to see that. And so, look, this is about freedom and democracy against Russia's invasion, aggression against the Ukrainian people. And this is also about protecting our national security as well. So
Karine Jean-Pierre making the point that they're going to be combining the funding for Ukraine and the war against Russia with the funding for the southern U.S. border. But still concerns, borders too open. Here's the question and the answer at the White House yesterday.
Thank you. 2 questions on the border, if I can. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says the border is too open right now. Does the president think that the border is too open?
So here's what I will say. The president, on his own, without the help of Republicans in Congress, let's not forget, he put forward a comprehensive piece of legislation to deal with immigration reform. Remember, this immigration system has been broken for decades, and it's been 3 years. That's been almost 3 years since he put forth that piece of legislation. And there are 3 things that he has moved forward in when it comes to his plan and looking at the border. There's enforcement, and so we've deployed additional troops and federal agents to the border and removed or returned more than 250,000 individuals since May 12th alone. That's what we've been able to do without the help of Republicans. And deterrence, we've had the largest expansion, certainly, of a pathway is in decades. And we've made clear that attempting to cross the border unlawfully will result in prompt removal, a 5-year ban on reentry, and potential criminal prosecution. And let's not forget the diplomacy that we have done with the region, including Mexico, to deal with this issue, because this is a regional issue that we're seeing as it relates to unlawful migration.
So when the president looks at what's happening at the border, he sees a border that is effectively closed.
What I'm saying is that the president, without the help of Republicans, is doing everything that he can to deal with the border. That's what he's been able to do, while Republicans try to push forth a CR to take away the federal agents that we see at the border. That's what he's trying to do. They're trying to politicize it and make it worse. That's what Republicans are trying to do, and turn it into a political stunt. The president is actually dealing with the issue that's in front of him by getting record funding, 25,000 federal agents at the border. That is something that this president has been able to do. I'm going to move around.
So again, the White House given a lot of words there, but is it addressing the concerns that have been raised by not just Pritzker, but also New York's governor, Arizona's governor, and governors from border states that aren't in the same party as the president? But